never know what to do for the intros of my videos. Hello, my name is Taryn. This is my channel where I record videos about what I knit because I don't have anybody else to talk to about it, and I like to listen to people talk about their knitting online, and so I'm recording my own videos now. Welcome or welcome back. If you're watching again, thank you. My last video got like 150 views, which is like fine. I'm glad that it got 150 views because it's better than like 2 or 3, and even that would be like at least people are watching. But if you're returning, thank you for coming back. And if you found me, let me know how you found me because I'm curious about how that works. Anyways, I only have a few things to talk about today because I never really have a lot of projects going on at one time. I tend to stick to one project at a time and work on that until it's completed. But I do have a few like acquisitions and things to talk about. And then one work in progress and and a finished object. So let's talk about it, I guess. The first thing is finished object, which is I'm just calling it my flower cardigan. So it's based off of, well, not based off of, I took the pattern from this, which is the Endless Summer cardigan from Pickles Knits, which is like my favorite cardigan ever. I knit this last year. So I took this pattern, but then I put this flower motif on it instead and kind of made like my own like Franken pattern out of it. And I'm super happy with it. It's finished. I was working on it in my last video, but now it's done. Here's like kind of the fit. It has short row shaping on the bottom, so it kind of like is higher up front than it is in the back. And then it has like, I don't know, is this a V-neck? I guess that's a V-neck cardigan. And then I put these little antique glass buttons that I've had for a long time on there. They're kind of like a swirly flower shape. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like I said, I just took the pattern from this cardigan, the Endless Summer cardigan, and made up the lace motif chart. And it's a simple, just the little 6 eyelet flower thing. You can see this flower everywhere. Or like the 4-petal version or whatever. So I just charted that up, and then essentially you just have to take, like the stitch count from the pattern and then say, okay, well, how many times does that fit into here? And then like for the sides, I just did like a half flower so that it would, not look too wonky. And then same thing with over here. I did half flowers like by the sleeve. The only thing I'm not super happy with it is for the arm decreases, I omitted like the center flowers from the underarm part right here because I thought it would look like weird if it was like coming together every so often. But then like right here, there's these 2 flowers which are right next to each other, and they came together really well. Like this is like a center double decrease that I did to, decrease the arm right there. So like it worked, but it just looks wonky right there, but it's the underarm. I'm not really like too worried about it. It's just one of those things that like I know it's there and it irritates me. It's made out of, I forgot to say, it's made out of Drops Alaska, which is like it's a pretty rustic yarn. It's not like horrible. I think something like Let Lopi from Eastex is probably a bit more rustic until you wash it. I think it's a little bit softer after you wash it, but same thing with this, like it's pretty rustic. And then you give it a wash and it's not too bad. But I love working with it. I don't know if I would knit like a pullover with a collar. Why does that look kind of cute? Okay. Anyways, I don't know if I would knit a pullover with like a high resting collar with this yarn because it's a bit sensitive on my neck. Just a little bit. I'm really not too sensitive to yarn, thankfully, because that would suck if I was sensitive to a lot of itchy yarns or whatever. The construction is bottom up, so you knit like the entire bottom part in one like really wide piece, and then you separate for the front panel and the back panel and the other front panel, and then you do the button band. There's some short row shaping on the back of the collar, and then you do the sleeves, pick them up from the armhole and then knit them down. So it's a pretty simple sweater. I would like to do, or cardigan, I would like to do other cardigans in this construction, just because I love, like, it's such a deep drop shoulder, or like long drop shoulder. I don't know how to describe that, but like I just think it looks so pretty, like that like drapiness, you know, like it looks so good. And then you can kind of like take it off the shoulder and wear it like that, you know. I think it's super cute. So yeah, I would like to knit more cardigans in this kind of construction and style, just because I think it's definitely my style. I had to redo, I knit the first sleeve and then it was way too long because I realized that I was doing the decreases every like 8 rows instead of 6 rows, because it just tells you to do it evenly over the, or no, it doesn't tell you to do it evenly. It tells you to do it every like 2 point something centimeters. So you kind of have to figure out like how many rows that is in that length. And I didn't realize that I had notes on that for my previous cardigan that I had knit. And I was like, why is it so long? And then I was like, oh, because I'm decreasing too far apart. So that was the only problem I had with it, but I'm really happy with how it came out and how well the little flower motif worked out. So that's a lesson in, if you see a pattern that you really like and you like the fit of it, but, or like, you know, the construction or something, but you're not crazy about, I don't know, the lace motif, or, you know, you want to add stripes to it or something like that, I'd say go for it. Like, just try it, see how it comes out. It could mess with the gauge because, you know, if you were to do, if the original pattern was like in stockinette and then you decided like, well, I like that construction, but I want it to be like a all over like intense lace pattern, that lace might open up more, obviously, and your sweater could like grow because of that. Same thing with like, I imagine if you changed it to garter stitch or something, maybe it would come in. So, but I say play around with it. It's fun. It was almost like writing a pattern. Clearly it's not because I used a different pattern, but it was like a lot of math, you know, to just get this motif in there, and trying to make it perfect and even and everything and get that all situated. So yeah, I'm happy with how it came out. This is my new, not maybe favorite sweater. I still think that belongs to this one. It's just, it has my heart, but I've already worn it enough that it's starting to pill. I don't know if you can see like right there, but yeah, I like when sweaters pill. I think it's a good indication of how much you love that sweater. Unless you've worn it once and it's already like shedding, then maybe that's not so good. But I do like when sweaters pill. So anyways, that's my flower cardigan. Enough about that. This is my work in progress. So the last video I did, I was debating on what sweater I should knit after I was finished with this one. And I didn't know if I should knit one that was like a bigger gauge and would be faster, or if I should knit the porcelain sweater, because I want it to be done by winter time so I can wear it. Oh, I thought my needle had slid out like half of my stitches, but it was just, it only dropped one. Anyways, I decided to do the porcelain sweater. So this is my progress so far. Hold on, it's kind of curling there at the bottom. So this is the, I guess I could actually put it on through that neck hole. That's the back part and the shoulder part, and then I just connected for the neck in the front. So if you've never done a sweater construction like this, I think it's like one of the best sweater constructions, because you only have to cast on these back stitches right here for the back of the neck. And then this one is actually a little bit different. So like, I've knit the Stripe Pipe Sweater by Kuta Vakika, and that's the same construction where you start with the cast on for the back of like the neck and the shoulders. But for that one you knit, or you cast on all of them. This one you only cast on the back of the neck, and then you add on, you cast on more stitches kind of as you go. So it has this like slanted effect to the drop shoulder, I think. And I thought that was interesting, and it gives it this really pretty, like, I don't know, line going down the middle of the shoulder. But yeah, and then, was there short rows? Yeah, there was short row shaping for the front of the shoulder here after you pick up the front. So it's been easy so far. The only thing is that, okay, so this is my first time doing a colorwork sweater. I've done like colorwork hats and socks. So I'm familiar with doing color work, but not on a large piece, and also not flat, because the, you know, socks and hats that I've done were in the round, which is different when you're doing color work because you only have to knit. And when you're doing it flat, you have to go back and purl. So like my back looks good. I think I've cut all the floats evenly. And I've tried not to leave any of them too long or anything. I think these ones here at first were a little bit too long. But my problem is that on my swatch, my color work was fine. Like my floats, you know, were fine and everything. But then as I was knitting the actual color work on the sweater, you can see kind of like right here, right there. That's from catching my floats in the back when working across these like 5-stitch long sections. And you can see it like coming through the front, no matter how much I try to kind of smush it around and fix it. So like, and I tried to go back, I redid that part like maybe twice. And I watched like some videos of how to wrap the yarn and catch it in different ways, because how I do it is I just, while I'm knitting, I put that yarn over the needle, the one that I'm about to catch, put it over the needle, and then I knit, and then it catches it or whatever. I thought that's how you do it. But I don't know, it's showing up like that on my sweater, and it's irritating me. So I'm obviously not going to redo it. I mean, I've already gotten this far, but I'm just confused as to why it was different on my swatch versus doing it here. But yeah, I think it's another one of those things where like, I know it's there, people aren't really going to notice it like while I'm wearing it, so it's not that big of a deal. But I just, especially because it's like, it's my first colorwork sweater, I guess I can't be too hard on myself, especially when it's knit holding 2 yarns together for each color, so it's 4 strands all together, so that's a lot of yarn to manage as well while working on it. But I don't know, it's irritating me. So yeah, that's the progress on that so far. And also I was working on it the other night and realized that right here I did 2 rows of white instead of 1 row of white, and I had just redone this part like 2 times because my stitch count was off, and then I realized that these little checkers whatever were off, so I had to redo it. And then by the time that I realized I had to redo it again, I was like, I'm putting it down, I'm not working on it for a little bit. I mean, I'll pick it back up probably tonight, honestly, because I already miss working on it. I think it is a fun project. But yeah, that was just, I was getting so irritated. Like, I can read charts, I can read patterns, and every time I knit a sweater, it doesn't matter like how many times I've read the pattern through, or like I go through and I highlight all of the like size specific instructions, I always miss something. I always over, you know, estimate something, and I think, oh, well, it's just done this way, and then I read back and I'm like, I messed up. So yeah, that's already happened on this sweater, and I have to go back and fix it. But I am really excited for it. It's made with Drops Flora and Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. And I've never understood when people say that mohair is itchy, because all of the mohair that I've worked with has been fine, but this one's actually kind of itchy. And like I said with the Drops Alaska yarn, like it's rustic, but it doesn't really bother me too much. But like this one, I don't know, I feel like it is a bit itchy. Maybe it depends on like, I don't know, how dry it is and everything here, because it's pretty dry. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but sometimes it feels a bit itchy. And I'm worried about that because it does have, you know, like a not super high collar, but it's definitely around your neck. So yeah, but I still think that it's soft. I just think that maybe if you're one of those people who is like pretty sensitive to mohair, then this one might be a bit itchy, but it's a good price because it's Drops. So anyways, that's in hiatus for now until I decide to give it affection again. Next thing is when I got mad at my porcelain sweater, I had bought some roving from Fancy Tiger Crafts. And Fancy Tiger Crafts is, or was, a craft store here in Colorado in Denver. I found out about them years ago, I think from like a Christy Glass Knits video or something like that. Maybe You know what? Maybe I learned about them just from like Googling them or something like that. But either way, I remember like seeing videos about them and then being like, I have to go there. They are like what if I had a yarn store one day, which like I would like to do that. If I had a yarn store one day, they are like what I aspire to be like. It was such a good little store. They had like a really wide section or selection of fabrics as well. I couldn't remember what that was called. Fabric, because they were also like, you know, quilting and like clothes. You know, they had a lot of patterns for that. But yeah, so unfortunately they are closing down. Probably when this video comes out, if not, you know, like a few days after, whatever, they're going to be closed down by then because they're closing down on October 31st of 2024. So that was really sad. I saw the news about that on Instagram and I was like, no. I guess they changed location and just had, you know, financial problems. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what it sounds like. So they will no longer be in business. They had an online store too, so there's probably plenty of people who have bought, you know, stuff from them online. I know that I've bought a lot of stuff from them online over the years. I think the last time I went to their store in person was like 2018 or 19, which is sad because like when I moved back to Colorado, I was like, I want to go to Fancy Tiger Crafts and like see how their new location is and like look around in a yarn store because that's one of my favorite places on earth, and it's not going to be there anymore. It's so sad. So anyways, all of that to say is when I saw the news, I was like, okay, well, I have to buy a few more things from Fancy Tiger Crafts as like a, you know, goodbye kind of thing. So I got this roving from Fancy Tiger Crafts. I got 5 ounces of it. This is, Cupid Falls Farm Corriedale roving. So when I bought it online, the picture looked like a dusty rose color, which is what I wanted. I wanted like a kind of pink, mauvey, dusty rose color. I don't know. And then I got it, and it's like, I think it is showing up a bit different on camera too. Like it does look more pink on camera. But anyways, in real life, it's almost like a chocolate milk purpley color, which is not the color that I would have ever chosen if I could have seen it in person. And then I was curious and I was like, well, you know, is there just like a batch difference? And so I went to Cupid Falls Farm website and I looked up this color, and on their website, it looks like a beigey, like oatmeal-y color. I think it's just one of those things where it's like online, the color looks different. You can't really, you know, be mad about that. I'm spinning it up right now. It's a really like dry, kind of crispy fiber. I don't think you can really tell on camera. But the fibers are not super straight. Like I think that the micron count is probably a bit higher. Is that how that works? The higher it is, the curlier it is? Or is it the lower it is, the curlier? Anyways, it's not like a super soft, straight, like merino or something like that. It's definitely got like a kind of crimpiness to it. But I'm trying to spin it. Where's my bobbin? I'm trying to spin it as... Yes?
I was gonna... What are you doing?
I'm recording a video.
Chow's ready.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you edit it or something?
Yes, I can edit it. Anyways, I'm trying to spin it as like a DK weight or worsted weight yarn. I think I'm getting there. Every time I try to spin yarn, I'm like, I'm gonna make it a worsted weight, and then it ends up as something else. I'm not really good at keeping my singles even. I'm looking at it right now and it's like pretty even, but there's like some spots that I can see that aren't even. There's like some little sluggy bits, but I think it's okay. Like, it's not perfect. It's hand spun yarn. I'm not mad at it, but yeah, it's definitely like not the color I wanted it to be. So anyways, my idea with it was I would spin up the yarn depending on how much I had, maybe make like a pair of mittens or maybe like a hood or something. But then I was thinking I would like, you know, some kind of accessory that I would wear a bit more often with it, just because I think that would be nice. So I think I'm gonna knit a Sophie shawl from Petite Knit out of this. which would be my first petite knit pattern ever. I haven't knit any petite knit patterns, but the Sophie shawl and the Sophie scarf are obviously pretty popular if you're like familiar with knitting patterns and knitting YouTube or whatever. That's like everywhere. And especially last year, I think it was like even more popular. So I think that would be cute. Like knit a little Sophie scarf with this, and then I could say like, oh yeah, it's hand spun yarn. But I think I will hold it with a mohair of some sort. And I think I'm going to pick a lighter, like lilac purple kind of color, because since this is like a more neutral, strange purple chocolatey color, I don't know. I think if I held it with a mohair that was like a lighter purple color, it would even out to like a dusty purple, and it would look okay. Maybe not. Maybe I should hold it with like some kind of putty color. I was thinking that too. But either way, I'm going to hold it with some kind of mohair so that the color changes, and it'll be a bit softer as well, because just feeling it on the bobbin, feels like it's pretty rustic. But who knows how it'll be when it's washed. It could always change. But yeah, I think that would be a cute idea. I'm not sure how well it'll work out, but I'm going to try anyways. So last thing that I got is also from Fancy Tiger Crafts. That's not true. I actually got I got some stickers too, but they're in the mailbox right now because I ordered them after my first order. They're in the mailbox. I'm too lazy to go get them. So anyways, this is some sock yarn that I bought from Fancy Tiger Crafts. This is Road Trip sock yarn from, I don't know if the brand is just Road Trip. Oh no, Herd of Cats. Road Trip sock yarn. Okay. So it's dyed in Colorado, and it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon sock yarn. This is the colorway Tiger Stroll. Is that going to show? So this is one of the collaboration colors that I guess they had with Fancy Tiger Crafts. They had this one and then more of like a mint blue-green kind of colorway. But I got this one because I love pink. And I thought that it was really cool with all of these like speckles and colors throughout. Hold on. I'll open it up so you can see more of what it looks like. So look at all the speckles. It's really cool. I haven't bought hand-dyed yarn in years. Like, this is my first skein of hand-dyed yarn that I've bought in years. So this is going to be a pair of Mermaid Avenue socks by Summer Lee Knits. Those socks came out like forever ago, and I think that's like kind of what blew her up on Instagram. I just remember like seeing the picture of like the little pink Mermaid Avenue sock. It has like this really nice, almost like latticey scale kind of texture pattern on it. And it's funny because I was kind of thinking this in my head that like usually I don't like to knit textured socks with any kind of intense, speckled hand-dyed yarn like this, because the texture just gets lost in all of the color. Like there's just too much going on. If it's like a rib sock, it's not too bad because, you can still kind of see the rib, but I'd rather just knit a plain like stockinette stitch, or, maybe use like color work or something for a really intense hand-dyed yarn like this. But that stitch pattern works so well with hand-dyed yarn, in my opinion, just because of I don't know. I don't think there's I think there's just slip stitches in that pattern, but it almost looks like there's little like bars that go across of the yarn, and you can just, I don't know, you can see the colors and the texture, all at once. And it looks really nice. So anyways, I was looking up Summer Lee videos on YouTube, and she said the exact same thing in her video. She was talking about knitting another pair of Mermaid Avenue socks because she lost her first pair or whatever, and she said that she thinks that this, stitch pattern works really well for hand-dyed yarns. So I'm excited for that. I have been eyeing those socks for a really long time, and I've never committed to just knitting them. I'm not sure if I'm going to knit a separate colored cuff and heel and toe, or if I'm just going to do the entire thing all in one color. And I'm also not sure what length they're going to be. I don't know. I think that'll be fun. It's also going to be my first pair of sock weight socks, or fingering weight socks. I've never done socks out of just one strand of sock yarn. I've always done either 2 strands of sock yarn, so it's like a DK worsted weight, or I've just straight up held worsted weight for socks and knit like a thicker sock with those. So I bought, I knit socks on 9-inch circulars because I'm insane. So I bought Xiaogu 9-inch circulars, and they're so tiny. I've never bought little 2.25 millimeter 9 inches before, and I'm kind of worried about my fingers cramping. So if it doesn't work out, then maybe I will just double this up and knit a DK or a DK weight sock instead, or a worsted weight sock. I think it'll work though. I'm gonna try to commit to working a sock in a fingering weight. So I might even break my rule about working on one project at a time, and cast these on at some point soon, even while my porcelain sweater is in progress, because I'm going to be starting work soon. And luckily at my job and downtime that we have, I can knit. So I think that this would be a better project to take to like work, because the porcelain sweater obviously has 4 balls of yarn going at one time. And when I worked there the first time, I would, be working on my knitting, and the yarn would like kind of drag on the floor or whatever, and then I would roll my little office chair over it and it would get stuck all up in the wheel. So like that happening with 4 balls of yarn or whatever, or managing that, no, I'm not doing that. That's just too much to manage. And also, like, I wouldn't want to do color work at my job, because I think that's just too much to think about. I'd rather do something simple with like a simple stitch repeat. So who knows, maybe these will be casted on soon and worked on, and maybe they'll even be done by the next time I record something. That's it for acquisitions that I've bought. The only thing I have less to talk about is I pre-ordered one book from Rose Knitting. I've seen them on Instagram for a long time, and they have like really contemporary style patterns. They incorporate a lot of like texture and colors into their patterns. So there was this hat, I can't remember the name of the hat right now, I'm just going to put it on screen. There's this hat that I saw first, and that was the first like pattern I ever saw from Rose Knits, and I immediately gave them a follow, and I was like, I love that. So they have a book coming out now, and there's a lot of patterns in that. There's a cable sweater that's really beautiful. There's like a tank top that has like stripes and texture in it. I don't know how to describe it. It almost looks like a plaid or like a tweed of some sort. What else is there? There's like this beautiful like cabled jacket cardigan. So I pre-ordered that. I'm excited for that. If you haven't heard about it, maybe go look into it if you want to see what kind of patterns are in it. I have a rule for buying knitting books that if I wouldn't knit at least 80% of the patterns in them, I don't buy them. And I think that this book is like, I like majority of everything that's in this book. I don't know if I would knit everything that's in that book, because that's just a lot of knitting, obviously. But yeah, I'm excited for that book. I think you can already buy it and like have it shipped if you're in Europe. And I was going to do that, but then the shipping was just as much as the book. And so I decided to pre-order it for when it gets released in America. So that should be coming in late November. And then also, Kutufa Kika, her new book just got what is it called? You can pre-order it now. I was going to say pre-release, but that's not the right term. So her book is up for pre-order now. And it's being published with Lina magazine. And I'm really excited about that book, because I'm like a huge Kika fangirl in the same way that I think, a lot of knitters on YouTube like petite knit, and they want to knit everything that's petite knit. I want to knit everything that Kika makes or, puts out. So I'm really excited for that book. She's been talking about it and, shared her progress with it kind of throughout the months. And everything in that book I want to make, except for maybe like the really plain sweaters, because I think every book needs like a plain sweater for like, beginners or something who just want to make something plain. I probably wouldn't knit those, but she's got all sorts of beautiful like lace cardigans and sweaters. There's like a few, I think, hats and tank tops. There's this really cool like tank top that just has one sleeve, and then like the other side is cut out kind of, and it has this like, I think, a crochet edge or something. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I can't remember the name of the book. I'll just put it on screen. So also, I'm not sponsored by either of Kika or Rose Knits. I'm just talking about things that I think are exciting coming out in the knitting world. I don't know. So if you're interested in those, or if you haven't heard of them, maybe go look at them. And that's all I have to yap about today. It wasn't much because I don't do much. And probably the next episode, who knows if it'll even be done or not. So, but anyways, thank you for watching. If you watched until the end, by the way, I know that people say this, like in YouTube videos, they're like, thank you for watching until the end. But seriously, if you watched until the end, thank you. Because I look at my YouTube analytics, and I'm not like crazy. I'm not like trying to be a professional or anything like that. Obviously, it's just something that I'm doing. But you can see like a graph of how long people watch your video for, and mine go, yeah. And it says that like people watching within the first 30 seconds is typical or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I would hope so. But it just goes all the way down. And I think like out of all the views that I had on my last video, like only 6 of them were like complete views where people watched all the way through. So it kind of makes me feel bad where I'm like, oh, like I guess I'm boring or annoying or something and people don't want to watch me. But like I do that too when I'm watching YouTube videos. I don't know, sometimes it's really like the scrolling factor of YouTube. Like I'll be watching something and then I'm scrolling at the same time that I'm watching something and then I'm like, oh, I want to watch this instead. And then I just jump to that video because I think everyone's attention span is shot now. But anyways, thank you for watching. Also, if you want to leave a comment about anything, like what you're working on or questions, I don't know, leave a comment because I want to talk to people in the comments and reply to people. So that would be nice if you want to do that. And subscribe or like whatever if you want to. Thank you for watching, and I'll probably make another video in another 3 weeks or something like that. Bye.